How goes the family? How goes it? How goes it? I usually don't go live on Mondays, but hey, figured I'm going out of town in the next couple of days, so I figured I start knocking some stuff out right now. Especially most likely won't have the time to or the chance to go live on Thursdays. So, anyways, hopefully everybody's doing good. Definitely. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the previous video we did with the IT workshop. I got to thank Chris and Mike again for taking time out of their days. Christopher Edwards and Michael Alcantara for taking time out of their busy days, busy schedules. They both have full-time jobs and both have businesses. So definitely got nothing but love and respect for them. So thank you guys so much. But anyways, to the story at hand. So today's subject matter is actually going into is Social Security a joke? Now, full disclaimer: I'm not talking bad about Social Security. I'm not saying it's we should end it now and all this other stuff that people want to get into because people love to get into these ridiculous political arguments for no reason that really don't get us anywhere, and that's not how I roll. So my whole thing is this document from Social Security came up because my mother is getting to the point where she can one more year and she'll be able to start collecting Social Security. So I was just looking over the benefits because I'm nowhere near that age yet, and I was just looking at the pie chart, and that's why I came up with this mindset of is Social Security a joke? Because I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm looking at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. All right. And like I said, once again, I'm not saying anything bad about Social Security. I'm not saying anything bad about the government or corporate America, nothing like that. I'm just saying that this is very interesting. And I think this is a subject matter that should be talked about. I'm all for anything that when people get older, they can draw money from, because obviously, the cost of living is going to go up regardless of who's in office. The cost of living is nothing to, play with. Your money is nothing to play with. We all have our times where we talk about money, we spend money out of control and do stupid stuff, and we buy, add on to the car, we get the Jordans. I've never had Jordans, but we take the vacations. I know I've done enough of that, so that's why I said I'm not being a hypocrite here. We do all that good stuff, and a lot of times we regret it. A lot of times, like, hey, we're glad, we had those great experiences and all that good stuff. And I think, you got to have some fun in your life. You don't have to be so uptight with every single dollar and cent that you use. But I mean, even though I am, because I like my money to come back. I like my money to work for me. Even when I go have fun, that's why I got get the cashback rewards credit card. I like my money to come back, or get air miles. I want to get something back for me spending my money outside of me getting a nice treat and having fun and able to just post a lot of good selfies on Facebook and or any other social media platforms and whatnot. I like to be able to make my money work for me, so I don't always have to work for it. That's just how I look at a family. But anyways, I digress. Now, before I even go to the monthly numbers that's usual for Social Security recipients, because like I said, for a lot of people, it's all they have. That's why I said I'm not dogging or talking down on Social Security. I know a lot of people that this is all they can live off of, is Social Security, because a lot of times, especially a lot of people that draw disability, you know what I mean? So I'm not dogging at all, because this is Social Security for a lot of people is their livelihood. Heck, even with the stimulus checks that went out, the 3 stimulus checks that went out, Social Security recipients actually, received that. So they were actually able to get a little bit more money than normal. So that's why I said I'm not talking down to it and whatnot. But do those people live in the best of neighborhoods a lot of times? Depending on where they live at. Do those people have, and depending on who they're living with, do those people have a lot of economic opportunities? Depending on who they're living with. If they're just by themselves, a lot of times they're barely scraping by. You know what I mean? But if they're with family members, a lot of times they can make something happen. So that's why I said I'm not going to knock Social Security whatsoever. And I've been paying into it since I was a teenager. So I'm not going to knock something I expect to get something in return from, right? It actually came, if you go to the history of Social Security, it actually came to existence with President Franklin D. Roosevelt, in his message of the president to Congress in June 8th, 1934. And the actual Social Security Act in itself came into existence in 1935. So, and at the end of the day, it's, the shorten it all up, it was for people that, because even back then, during that time frame, pensions for jobs were just coming into existence. And most people, you had a lot of elderly people that did not have any economic means whatsoever. And I know a lot of people's like, well, in a capitalist country, you're supposed to have some sort of a do for self mentality. I'm not knocking that whatsoever. Especially with the time frame that we live in now, you got to have multiple sources. Back then that was not the mindset unless were a rich person. But now as a working people, you have to have multiple sources of income. It's not a want, it's a must, it's a requirement. It's not even up for discussion. Okay, family. So I just leave it at that. All right. But anyways, before I even go further, we have to get some good music to liven the mood up, because like I said, I don't like to be 100% uptight. But I am at the end of the day, I'm definitely all for Social Security, because people pay into it, they should get something in return. And I just look at it as working people today should not look at it as a only one the sole source of their retirement when they get older. It should be looked at it more as an add-on and whatnot. The people that I know that grew up, the baby boomers and the Gen Xers and whatnot, people who are retiring, who have retired or looking towards retirement and whatnot, the financial planners I've talked to, never ever look at Social Security as being the sole income for when you're going to retire. Just like your 401k with your job, or even if you're self-employed, don't look at that as being the sole, because usually the self-employed people, depending on the circumstances, will have a qualified retirement account, which is just another version of 401k. But a lot of times the difference is you can actually borrow money from that without being taxed, as long as that money's being, put into the business and whatnot. That's another story for another day. But anyways, the main reason why I thought of the whole concept is Social Security a joke. One reason. Okay. One reason. And before I go, let me make sure I get my hashtag lives. Hashtag live. All right. But anyways, the main reason why I came up with this, because I was just looking at the chart. Okay. Chart's right here. I'm going old school today because I received this in the mail. So for those, and this is not an exact, but the monthly benefit amounts, defer based on the age you decide to start receiving benefits. Okay. Now, this chart was actually an example of people who would start drawing at specific ages. So the earliest you can draw at Social Security is 62. Okay. The age of 62 to 70 years old. Or I believe, don't correct me if I'm wrong, at age 70, you must start drawing from your Social Security period. Now, a great person, I'm not going to mention her name, sweetest woman on the planet. She's greatly missed from this earth. Like I said, you got to appreciate people while they're here, regardless of what the situation is. Of course, when I'm live, my phone wants to go off 1,000 times. Anyways, let me get this get my phone muted. Okay. Anyways, so age 62 is at $750, 63 $800, 64 $866 a month. This is monthly, family. Age 65 $933, age 66 $1,000, age 67 $1,080, age 68 $1,160, age 69 $1,240, and age 70 $1,320. All right, now at the end of the day, that is not a lot of money in this country. Even if you live in the backwoods of Pennsylvania, Mississippi, Wyoming, the cheapest parts of the country, where you can actually find a reasonable place to rent between $700 and $900 a month and whatnot. That is not a lot of money. Even at the high end. Now, the highest is for people is between $2,700 and $3,000. Okay, once people reach full retirement age. All right, and even then, I believe you can still money's being taken out from when that money's being taken out. It's still taxed, and you still got money coming out for the Medicaid and all that good Medicare and all that good stuff. So the reason why I say is it a joke is and if you're watching, please do the great 3 free things: like, share, subscribe to my YouTube page. It would always greatly be appreciated on that note. But anyways, so you have this amount of money, And the reason why I'm getting into that is because most working people will, rich people, they got their house together economically. They have their financial advisors. They go through financial advisors like people go through tennis shoes. So I'm not talking to rich people. I'm talking to working people. Um, let's just go to according to AARP. All right. Because we're all going to join the AARP club. So I'm not knocking AARP in, I know a lot of senior citizens that utilize this, and it's a beautiful thing. They stated you also need to factor any pension or social security income you'll be getting. If your annual pre-retirement expenses are $50,000, for example, you'd want to retire. You would want retirement income of 40,000 if you follow the 80% rule of thumb. If you and your spouse will collect $2,000 a month on Social Security, that's a big if, or $24,000 a year, you'd need about $16,000 a year, $16,000 a year from your savings. And the states, bear in mind, um, however, there if there's any withdrawals from a tax deferred savings account like I have, such as a traditional IRA or 401k plan, would be reduced by the amount of taxes you pay. You have to remember that. Okay, you have to remember that, because even when you start drawing money from your retirement account, you're still going to get taxed. So that's one thing that's always guaranteed is taxes and whatnot. Okay, and for those that do not know what the actual 80% rule is, the 80% rule. I will read it off. The 80-20 rule, it's also known as the Pareto principle, is a euphemism which asserts that 80% of outcomes or outputs result from 20% of all causes or inputs from any given event and whatnot. Um, and that's just the Investopedia aspect of it. At the end of the day, it's like, how much money are you really contributing of your money? Are you taking 80% of the money and you putting it into retirement savings or any savings account, period? You're taking 20% out of the 80% of the amount of money that you make. That's I believe that's the real actual definition. You're taking 80%, taking 20% of your monthly earnings. A lot of people don't think about that. A lot of people will just let their employer take do it for them, and they just totally oblivious, especially when it comes to their retirement accounts. The contributions, they don't up the ante on the contributions so that they can have a better retirement. I'm not giving out any financial advice, but this is just normal stuff for a lot of working people. They don't think about the actual how much money that they're putting away, because a lot of times, and that's one, I think one thing I can say with sincerity, I've always been serious about, from a personal standpoint, the amount of money that I not only make, but how much I save and how much I invest. But I noticed ever since I started having businesses that I actually started paying attention way more to the money that's being spent and the money that's coming in. And a lot of times when you start divvying up the amount of money, just do yourself a favor. One day you have a day off, take 3 hours out of your day and specifically calculate how much money you spend every month, how much money comes in every month, um, just on the normal stuff, and then factor in the stuff that's outside of the normal stuff. Like you go on vacations, you're going to a concert, if that ever happens again, you go to a theme park, whatever have you, or when an issue happens with your vehicle or your property, things that a medical issue, really add those numbers up. A lot of times people will be amazed. I was amazed at how much money that I've actually spent, and in certain areas I need to cut out things and whatnot. But I go into that to say, yeah, everybody has a number when they want to, when they get of age and they specifically want to retire. For a lot of people, retirement is not even an option because, I mean, look at it, look at the last two presidents, to the current president of the United States, previous president of the United States, both in their 70s, still working. Donald Trump's still working to this day. Bernie Sanders, I believe Bernie Sanders is almost 80 years old. He's older than both, and he's still working to this day, still a U.S. senator. So if the great person I mentioned earlier, she passed away at 77 years old. Looked like she was 60 years old, but yeah, passed away at 77 years old. Great person. Um, you know, but for a lot of people, retirement just is not a thing. Especially when a lot of people get older. Unfortunately, they start thinking about it more then instead of thinking about it earlier. So I employ anybody who, because for a lot of people in my age in their 30s or the 20s, they want to retire themselves now. The idea of working until their 60s and 70s for a regular 9 to 5 is just something that they don't want to do. And I can kind of understand it. I get it. I mean, heck, if we all hit the lottery today, I mean, who wouldn't be like, all right, job, have a nice life. Just start living the life on their terms. People, have the opportunity to do that. But anyways, the thing at the end of the day that I'm really getting at is that with those numbers that I read earlier about, if you're 62 years old, you may get up to $750, and it might be less than that depending on how annual income is actually taxed. 63, $800. By the time you reach 65, less than $1,000. Now the numbers are skewed and whatnot, so it's not 100%. But just thinking about it, I mean, it's insane. And because the thing is, it's like, and then you have that, and then say if you have that, then you have your pension plan, whatever have you, if you're with a government entity, private organization. If you're lucky, you'll be able to withdraw when you get of age. Now, this is all dependent on your age, because if you withdraw earlier from your pension plan, you're gonna get taxed 10 times. So if you're lucky, you get up to $1,300 to $1,600 a month from your pension plan or whatnot, because we don't live. I call them all 401ks. Every company or government entity, you'll have a different name. It's all the same, because you're contributing and the employer is matching it, and you get to roll it over from every employer that you go to. So it's nothing new to me, to be honest with you, if we're going to be real about it. But that's just my personal opinion. But as far as, a payout, like what do you think you're going to be able to live off of when you get older? I'm talking to my millennials now, like 20 to 30 years from now. A lot of millennials are struggling to this day. A lot are doing real good. But for the regular average working millennial, how much do you really think you're going to need to retire comfortably? Do you want to live in a smaller town? Do you want to own a house where you don't have a mortgage? You got to factor these things in. Now, that'll cut your expenses down, except you pay the taxes on your property and the insurance on the property. And of course, you got to make sure you have savings to take care of the home. Homes just don't, get old and, everything's all good. You got to be able to take care of the home. Medical expenses will go up. So do you have a great pension health coverage plan with your employer? That is something to think about. That's why everybody's got more of a nowadays, even people that are doing well in their career have a mindset of trying to do for themselves, especially building up their business, because we live in the era of having multiple backup plans when it comes down to darn near everything, especially when it comes to economics and things of that nature, and always putting yourself in a position to have your money work for you. Or are you going to, when you get older, draw from your stocks and whatnot, draw from bonds, draw from insurance plans, things of that nature. That is really something to take into consideration. But I call Social Security a joke for those that think that they're only going to be able to live off of Social Security. That's one. My personal opinion, I think a person, if they have the fortunate enough to be healthy by the time they turn 62 years old, start drawing from your Social Security immediately, start banking that money. And if you consult maybe a financial professional and have them to guide you in a way that actually help you, give you more of a return on your Social Security investment, even if it's only $750 or even if it's only $500 or $400, that's still better than $0. So I call it a joke. If you're only thinking that you're going to be able to survive off of Social Security alone, then it's a joke. Okay. You got to be able to have more than one. What's going on, Theodore White? How you doing, brother? That's my man right there. Always putting out the good content. Good old Theodore White. Hope all is well, man. You keep up the good work, brother. But yeah, I'm just keeping it real on that note, man. It's like you have to put those things into perspective. That's why everybody and their mother is owning a business now. That's why everybody and their mother has 2 jobs. That's why everybody and their mothers collaborating with more and more people, because they know that this is the time that we have to do that. It's like, great example, even me and a guy like Theodore White, I haven't met him. Hope, can't wait to meet him one day. But I know that, collaborating people like that, they're thinking outside of the mind, outside of the box. They have a great positive attitude and spirit about them. And that is something to, take into consideration at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I look at it. But yeah, just keeping it real. That is just something to take into consideration, family. It's like, are you just going to depend on Social Security as a retirement and whatnot? I mean, I just don't see how it could be feasible. It's like most people even getting their pension plans and whatnot, even for them with a pension plan and retirement and Social Security, that's usually not enough. That's why we've been preaching the economics, financial intelligence is sexy, make money moves, live broke like a fool and whatnot, because people are setting themselves up for failure. Like I said, the baby boomer generation was the last generation to be able to say, I got a good pension plan and I got a good Social Security plan. They were the last generation to say that. Every other generation outside of that does not have the pleasure of saying, yeah, once I reach certain age, it's going to be the greatest thing on the planet. And I'm just like, and I think that in a sense nowadays it's kind of a sad way to live. You know what I mean? We should be looking forward to life, not just looking forward to our elder years. We should be, every day of our life should be a great freaking day to be excited. You know what I mean? Theodore White says, you're right, my great brother. Social Security is important as long as it's coupled with proper retirement savings and investments, which will help lead to easier retirement. And see with that statement, I could not agree with that statement more, because that is the best way to look at it. There's nothing wrong with having that, but it needs to be, coexist with other areas and whatnot. I mean, great example. It's you can join an affiliate marketing network. You can open up your own business online. You can have a brick and mortar. You could team up with other people. You could have other investments. You can there's so many actual certified financial professionals out there that could point people in the right direction. I mean, I always mention this one guy. His name is Frank Gordon. Real nice guy. Preacher, has his own church in I believe it's Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. He preaches not only the gospel of God, but he preaches the gospel of financial intelligence. He was able, invest in real estate too. That's another beautiful thing, because it ain't, that is, a lot of people are making bank in real estate and doing very well in real estate. That's why I've been investing in real estate the past couple of years. But Frank Gordon, he talks about it in all his weekly sermons. He was able to retire himself early because his mindset was, I don't want to depend on the government or a corporation to tell me when I can retire. I wanted to be able to work hard enough so I can retire on my terms. One of my former bosses said the same. He was the same way. He had his own real estate. He was one of the top guys at my job. Had his own real estate company on the side, had his own construction company on the side, and he was able to retire before his bosses because he set his life up to the point where he did not have to wait on the system for him to retire. He waited on himself. He put himself in the position so that he could retire. And that's what I employ people to do. Okay. Yes. Good. Draw your Social Security. Yes. Good. Have your pension, but surround yourself with people that have a mindset that I am going to retire on my terms, not because I turned 62 or 65. I'm retiring on my terms because I made the right financial calculations, because I made the right investments, because I set up the right business plans. I set up the right meetings with the right people. I went to the right areas. I got the right education outside of normal education, and I moved forward. That should be the mindset of everybody. There's nothing wrong with allowing the system to work for you, but then you got to look for ways to create your own systems so that they can work for you. So then you have multiple systems. Hence, you have multiple streams of income. It's a beautiful thing, and it works. Okay, there's so many areas to go about it, but don't be the victim of, I can't wait till I turn 62 years old so I can get less than $750 a month. That's a joke. I'm just going to call it like I see it. If that's the goal, then I'm calling it like I said. That's the joke. Social Security isn't a joke. The joke is being played on people that think that that's what they're looking forward to. Or if I wait till I turn, and I can't tell you how many people I heard I worked with, especially when I first entered the workforce, that, well, I'm going to wait till I turn 65 or turn 67 so I can get that full amount. Even back then, that was back in 2005, that wasn't considered a lot of money every month. Even if you lived in the smallest town in America, you could barely get by with something like that unless you had other streams of income. That's the joke. Okay, Social Security is not a joke. Okay, thank you, my brother Theodore. I greatly appreciate it. The joke is the people that buy into that's what's going to get me to the next level, and that's what's going to take care of me the rest of the rest of their lives. That's the joke. And the sad thing is, it's not funny. So I implore everybody out there that's watching this, and thank you, Theodore White. I greatly appreciate you, my brother. Nothing but love and respect. I implore everyone out there to take their finances way more seriously on all levels. I don't care what state you live in. I don't care what country you live in. I don't care what your background is. You can have all the degrees and certifications in the world. I'm talking about taking your economics seriously and taking them to the next level so that they can constantly work for you, so you don't always have to work for it. Because the unfortunate thing is, I ran into a lot of people from the baby boomer generation and the Gen X generation. And unless they had like a solid old school pension plan that paid thousands of dollars a month and owned real estate outright and had a great clean bill of health, a lot of people struggle and are still struggling, unfortunately. They passed away, unfortunately, because they did it the way that they were told, but they did not think outside of the box. Okay. That's why I like people who immigrate to the United States, because they think outside of the box. They have no choice a lot of times. I like people that are sometimes people that are even born into money, because they might not have created the fortune, but they're taught how to keep that fortune. So once again, it's education. And we live in the age of social media, hence education. We see great content being put out all the time by people like a Theodore White, by a Dennis Develops, by a Michael Macklin. I could keep going on. Michael Alexander. The list goes on and on. The content that comes out on a regular, Monica Gordon, list goes on and on. All these people, and even more. The more people I don't even know. They put out great information every single day to where people will learn. There's so many online institutions nowadays where you can learn how to make money. So I tell people, sign up to be with the Gold Standard Partners and whatnot. It's free. If you're a crypto investor like myself, this is another opportunity for not only for you to make money, but for actually you to make ask people to join the network and make money off of their Bitcoin purchases and things of that nature. All right. Like I said on my video the other day, hey, I've had the opportunity to pay a bill and buy groceries with cryptocurrency for the first time in 2021. I'm excited about that. Okay. Another stream. That's what it's all about. Having multiple streams of income, it's not about being fancy and showing off to people. It's just not worrying about I say this all the time, when an economic downturn happens, because that's inevitable. We know now that pandemics are inevitable. So everything is inevitable. But the only thing that we know that's not inevitable, that we know that people are not taking seriously, is having the multiple streams. Okay, because when you put yourself in that position, you can still be as frugal as you want to be, but at least something in the back of your mind says, that's expensive, but at least I have it. Like my brother Theodore White mentioned, real estate. Yeah, real estate is great, but don't get in real estate business if you're not if you don't have a lot of money in your savings account. Don't get in the real estate business if you don't have multiple streams of money to be able to pull from. So to pull from your stock market, to pull from equity out of your home, or pull from a retirement account or whatnot, or pull from, if you're a person that, like me, if you have a commissions based business where you're selling products or you wholesale real estate and things of that nature. So you have backup plans and whatnot, because in real estate, it takes a lot of money and a lot of strategy, and you have to be willing to take major risks. And that's another thing. Don't get into something that if you're not willing to take the risk. That's the thing. Take the risk, but you have to do your research, because the one thing people love to do, and I've noticed that in 2020 and 2021. Excuse me. And that's why we have to put these disclaimers out about, this isn't financial advice. We're just giving you our perspective and our history. The one thing people love to do is they love to say, well, Larry told me to do X, Y, Z. It didn't work out, so I'm going to sue him. Or I'm just going to give him a bad review online or something to that effect. And I'll say, no. I always tell people to do their own research. You know, I have a conversation with people, and a lot of times they're scared to execute. And that lets me know that you're not serious. You know, it's like if you're not willing to execute and put money down on the table, then that means you're not serious. There's not even up for discussion anymore. It's like, okay, we gotta go talk to somebody else, because a lot of times people love to get excited about investing. They love to get excited about real estate. They love to get excited about making a move someplace. But then when it comes to execution time, they're very gun shy. Matter of fact, they take all the bullets out of the gun because like, they make sure the safety's off and, take care of all that. I was like, I think I'll just stay in my comfort zone. And that lets me know at the end of the day that you're not serious. You know, there's certain things in life I'm serious about, certain things in life I'm not serious about. That's fine. But at the end of the day, all I have to say is if you're not willing to execute, then you're not going to get my salute. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, family. So on that note, family, we're going to call it a night. Like I said, most likely I will not be able to go live on my vacation. Well, not, it's a mini vacation, but trip and whatnot. So, but always greatly appreciate, family. Please hit the like button. Thank you guys for the subscriptions. Thank you for the Cash App. Thank you for the PayPals. Check out the online store. Order supplies. Anything you might need, we have it at LarrysAnythingGoes. Definitely do not hesitate. Check out the GS Partners Gold Standard. Making money moves in cryptocurrency in 2021, family. Question is, are you? All right. But anyways, life is good. Smile, laugh often. Don't be so uptight and let the world get to you. It's just not worth it, family. All right. See you guys on the other side. Take it easy.